underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Beyond, episode 335. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller. Alongside, he only does everything, Colin Moriarty.
Greetings.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm all right.
No salutations today?
No.
Not your thing?
No, fuck you.
Wow.
And in our ever-rotating third chair, the one and only, my Italian meatball, the birthday boy, Brian Altano.
Thank you.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 33 today.
Well, we're happy to give you this birthday gift of an appearance on Podcast
Happy
Beyond.
birthday. Happy birthday. I just cracked.
The hell? How old
That
are
was
you?
Was it
13?
Bobby Brady? Or was it Peter? It was a Peter Brady. It was
How
Peter
old are you
Brady.
really? You're like
Yeah,
42,
it's
right?
Yeah.
You're
I was born in 1970. 71.
You got that Atari on the 2600 the day it hit stores.
Why are you looking at your phone that way?
Coleco. I was just seeing if anything happened with the Jets.
But I'm not. Why are you doing it like this? Like you have, like you're doing it like with a claw, one-handed.
I got the.
It's a
carpal
good
tunnel
move, I
syndrome.
guess. You got that carpal. Yeah,
This is my favorite 90-year-old woman masquerading as PlayStation fans podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is IGN's PlayStation Podcast, the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. We call it Podcast Beyond. Every Tuesday, usually it goes up as an MP3, and then Wednesday is a video. Today we're day off because I took a day off.
It's fine.
Yeah,
You're allowed to do
nobody
that.
knows. Yeah, I know. Tell the kids on the internet.
What do you mean nobody knows?
No,
There's a huge paper trail when
thought
you...
I said everybody knows.
Oh, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can't... There's nothing you do in secrecy anymore.
No, you tweet about your video game vacation 7,000 times.
Well, that was a Twitch thing, but yeah, I'll show you how to unfollow people. I briefly thought about blocking you because you said something else snarky, and I'm like, don't go down this road, Colin. You got to come back to us. You got to come back to being a nice guy.
You were mad because I said I was hoping you could tweet that out one more time, and I got retweeted.
But that wasn't
like
it. It was
100
something
times.
else. No.
And then you tweeted again, and I said,
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
that was true. Oh yeah, that was when someone told me in the chat room on Twitch that was happening, that it was automatically tweeting for me, and then I was like, oh, everybody go tell Colin that I'm live streaming right now. It's fun, the internet world we live in.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Good job.
I never understood the sum.
Oh, it's because for a while there was an argument between what we were saying. So we started emphasizing some, and then we just never stopped. This is like Jeff Haynes. I'm talking about like in the original
Right.
dozen.
No, got it. I'm right there with you now.
Because I think it was time for some news, but then so at some point people started saying news, and then kids wrote in. They're like, "You're missing the sum," so we
Yeah.
started emphasizing some, like a bunch of jerks.
Well, we nailed it.
Nailed it this time.
It's 15 items on the list.
50 items.
50.
Oh, what?
No, 50. It's 15. 1-5.
Jesus.
1-5.
Go easy.
I was going
on
to say it in French, but I don't remember how to say 15 in French.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Dix.
I'll never get there. I'll never.
Yeah.
There's like duos.
Yeah,
or,
that's when it gets-
You made it farther than me, and I took French for 3 years in school.
Yeah.
And I did not know. You got to what, 6?
Yeah. Neuf is 9. I could have gone higher.
I took French in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 2 years in college.
Me
And
too.
I
You know
can't
now.
fucking count.
Me
to
too,
10.
minus
yeah.
the 2 years in college. Yeah, that was a...
It's like it sucks, man.
The joke.
Learning stuff sucks. I can't imagine learning a language as an adult and not having to use.
I
this
would just
stuff.
learn it what I needed, and then I would
Exactly.
forget it.
That's why the system's broken.
You know,
it doesn't work at all.
most kids don't know cursive anymore. They just type. And I don't see a problem with that. I think
No.
that's great.
Just learn to communicate.
Cursive was ridiculous.
Cursive is so
You know what I was
stupid.
thinking about? Remember when you were? I don't know if they still do this in classrooms, but when you were in like the elementary class and they'd have like the letters above the blackboard.
Yeah.
But then like when they were teaching you cursive, I don't know if they did this. They would block off all of the letters except for the one you were learning, and like every day or every 2 days they would take another like piece of paper off, and it would be like the next letter of cursive.
yeah.
For some reason, I remember these green things above the blackboard with the cursive writing, and they'd all go into each other.
I remember that. See,
Yeah.
mine always had the lineup of all the presidents, and you were like, look at these like stoic, manly men, and then
Yeah.
it got to like George Bush Jr. and he was like this, like man, he's like on the end, just like, hey, I tricked you.
You were not in class when George Bush Jr.
He was
on the
in. He was
thing.
in some schools.
Yeah, not yours. I'm just saying.
Maybe George H.W.
Yeah.
Yeah, George H.W. for sure. Dukakis.
Yeah, Dukakis is on there with all the.
Did I ever tell you that story? Did I ever tell you that
Al
story?
Smith. What?
I went to private school growing up, right, in an affluent Chicago suburb, right? So, like, in kindergarten, it was when this election was happening, the Dukakis-Bush race, and there was the kindergarten classes split into morning and afternoon sessions. And so they're like, who are you going to vote for? Who would you vote for? And, like, of course, no kid knows anything in kindergarten about presidential politics, so you just vote the way your parents did. And so I came in the next day, and there was only 2 people on the Democrat Dukakis side, and it was me and some other kid.
Wow.
Everybody
Wow, you
else
guys
was like
voted-
landslide
you voted for
Republicans.
Dukakis? That was a bad. That was
kindergarten. Greg Miller voted for Dukakis.
that was a bad election. You know where Dukakis is now?
No.
Northeastern University.
Oh, nice.
Political science professor.
Do you talk to him ever?
No.
Have you?
No.
Are you planning to?
No.
Were you gonna go back and see him?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Should get his autograph for me.
Failed presidential.
I'm trying to collect them all.
You get his and
John Kerry.
John Kerry's signature. Walter Mondale.
Yep.
All right, number 1.
Andrew Ryan.
We've made it far into the show.
Andrew Ryan. Paul Ryan.
Andrew Ryan.
Ryan's from BioShock.
This is the prequel. We're living the
Same
prequel
thing.
to BioShock.
Same thing.
Number 1.
Number 1.
At GDC last week, Sony revealed its much-rumored VR headset. It's called Project Morpheus and is very much like the Oculus Rift. Morpheus will work with PlayStation 4 exclusively, utilizing both the DualShock 4 and PlayStation Move, along with the PlayStation camera. A few demos, including Eve Valkyrie, a couple from Sony London, and even Thief from Square Enix, are or will be available to test. It's not due out in 2014 and is still a work in progress.
We've used it.
Yes, we have. We have used it.
Did you like it?
Yes,
I liked it
did.
too.
That's the same thing as Oculus, right?
Exactly.
It's a little more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. That was the one thing. I like Oculus a lot too, but this Oculus always feels like it's right on my eyeballs. Like if I blink and I can feel my eyelash move on it, and this one it didn't.
How does it work with you guys? Do you wear glasses?
I take mine off. You
Yeah.
can, but it's like I don't want to have the muddled experience. Like I'm already
Sure.
my prescription isn't strong enough where I think it's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah, the secret of my glasses is my prescription is -0.5, -0.5, and I don't really need them at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, you just do it to look like
They
a
distract from our
smart
big
man.
heads.
Well, so here's the thing. It's just an aside. I went to the eye doctor a few years ago. I was a -1, -1. So they were like, I need it for distance, right? Like if I'm in a meeting, I actually do need my glasses. Like if I'm
Yeah.
like on the far side of the room. But then I went the next year, and it went down to my eyes were actually getting better, like 0.75. Then the year after that, 0.5, 0.5, and they were like, "This is unusual, but it happens."
They're like, how much mayonnaise do you eat?
And they're like, "It's the Hellman's. It's what they call the Hellman's effect."
The Hellman's effect.
But yeah,
Similar
I
to the
don't
Streisand
actually
effect.
really need these. I wear them mostly because when I go out, I have transition lenses, and I can't actually I can't go outside without them now. Like I'm like it's like a vampire
Right.
walking into the sun when I'm.
They
outside.
make sunglasses too.
No, I don't want those.
Really? You
Yeah,
would
I
look
don't
at-
like switching them up. Yeah, like that's the big thing. This weekend we went out to the park or whatever, and it was like, I'm gonna be out in the sun, so I left my real glasses and just took sunglasses.
Yeah.
But then indoors, I was still wearing sunglasses because I like something on my face.
Right.
I don't want to be the guy with no face.
Okay, you can still have a face.
No. April took a break from hanging out with the turtles and rode into Beyond. She says Beyond.
Beyond.
Hey guys,
Beyond.
so I was thinking, what if The Last Guardian is being ported to Project Morpheus? Maybe that is why it's taking so long. Do you think that would be cool? I think it would be a good way to start Project Morpheus off with a bang. It's a terrible idea, April.
No, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, this happens a lot where people just combine secrets. They just take things that we don't know a lot of, and then just go, "Oh, they're all going together." I don't think that's happening. I don't think we're gonna see The Last Guardian ever again. I really don't.
I think we'll see it at E3.
Really?
That's been my prediction for 4
I think-
years in a row.
I think it's canceled, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it was probably a problematic game, and that they saved us all from playing a 6.
Removing ourselves even from the fact The Last Guardian's a disaster and a disappointment already.
Yeah.
The fact that I don't think it's coming to Project Morpheus is because we had that interview with Shuhei, right? And, of course, Dr. Richard Marks, where we sat down and talked about...
Hold on to the
Thank you.
night.
Not
that Richard Marks.
No, similar though. I think they're brothers. They're twin brothers. We sat down and talked about it, and they talked about the fact that experiences for Project Morpheus need to be built from the ground up. And now, granted, they could have nuked Last Guardian and come back and done it again, but I don't think they did. And even if they did, Project Morpheus is still what? They said, don't even think about it for this year, and I don't think about it for next year really either. Like, you're a ways out from
I'm not
having
really
this.
thinking about it much at all.
Not at all?
No,
Not
a little
since you
bit here
used
and there,
it?
here and there.
You don't wanna get
Oculus
back on that
Rift
Shark Tank?
is the big word right now.
Yeah,
everyone's talking about that. I mean,
Oculus, the
it's a weird
word
it's a weird time too, because last week they're like, "Hey, check out this new thing we have," and this week it's like, "Hey, $2 billion are coming from Facebook into your largest competitor." So I think it's kind of good. Like the Oculus guys will get all the the kinks out of the armor. It's not chinks, right?
No, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
the
I
thing.
stopped saying that.
There is, yes, exactly. You can use that word in a racist way, so it makes it sound very weird to
Yeah.
say it. But yes.
Oh, I gotta get
There's
all
a
these. I
chink in
gotta
the
get all these
armor.
wops out of my shirt. Like it's like nobody's. I'm
You're
Italian. I can say that.
Italian.
I can say that. Look at me.
Oh, look where my
Mamma
hands
mia.
are. Look where my hands are. I didn't say anything.
Start eating
But I
balls
think,
spaghetti.
I really think they're going to get all that out of the way, and then Project Morpheus is going to be something that, like, Sony's behind it, and Sony's crushing shit right now. Can we say crushing shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why couldn't you?
Can we say crushing chink? No.
Only if you say in the armor afterwards.
I think I'm going to crush some chinks in the arm. It'll be good. It'll be good.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
I don't either.
Podcast
Getting those wops out of my shirt.
It's been a good show. I'm not a fan. I'm a half Italian. I ain't offended by that word at all.
Yeah?
Nope.
I have.
You eat like a full Italian.
Oh yeah. I eat like 2 Italians. I tweeted out this picture the other day of my
I
dinner.
I saw.
And I made like these things of chicken cutlets, and my girlfriend's plate is like a normal
person's
plate. And then I
portions.
just have it's like a mound of shit on my plate. I'm like, well.
Do you have like a full can of vegetables on there too, right?
Yeah. I got the ones where you put them in the microwave in the bag, and it steams it in the bag.
God.
But then when you open the bag, it like the steam is like it's like nuclear steam.
Oh, yeah,
it's so
it'll kill you.
fucking
It's like
hot.
a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you
so
can't stand
hot.
there.
Speaking of Italian stuff,
Do we even have to do the news? Can we just talk about?
No, we never do. It's podcast PM. Last night, I went to a restaurant here in San Francisco.
Okay.
Had awesome Italian food.
What's it called?
It's Mazzeria. It's down at 16th and Guerrero.
Okay.
Where is
it? 16th and Guerrero in the Mission.
Oh, okay.
I had a nice meatball as an appetizer. I had a margarita pizza. Then we did some gnocchi. Everything was fantastic.
Right.
Here's what I didn't know. I signed up for this howaboutwe.com thing, and it's like you sign up and they can give you free deals on dates or whatever. And like basically they plan dates and you get to go on them, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So me and Christine are doing that. We went to this place. We got in. And it turned out, and I thought this was awesome. It's like it's run by deaf people. Like there's no music playing. I walked in and I was totally caught off guard because I wasn't expecting it. And they had me like point and then like write out my name for the reservation or whatever. And then sat me and it was like Christine and I were like maybe one of at the time 3 or 4 couples that were speaking, and everybody else was signing all around us.
How do you order food with buttons?
No, well, they have pads on the table where you can write stuff down.
They
but
don't
then
lip read or anything?
It was a prefix menu, so you could do that. I think just because it's so complicated ordering food, right? Like if you get like you'd come in, you'd be like, I want extra mayo, half a bun. Nick Scarpino would be like, give me 3 things of salad,
Yeah.
a bowl of carne asada.
Wow, that feels like something they should tell you on the way in, or maybe on the sign.
Well, it's like I think if I would have found the restaurant through natural means of a Yelp or something, it would probably be somewhere. I haven't even looked it up. Maybe that's not even their whole thing. Maybe just the staff of that night was all deaf. But like,
they have deaf night. Once a
that
month.
sounds bad.
No, it does. It doesn't. It's great. No, that's
But
interesting.
the pizza was really good. If you're looking for great Italian food, you should go there. And then it's also this thing of like, oh, this is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been in a quiet Italian restaurant.
Exactly.
before.
That's what it was. And like once I figured it out, and you're sitting there and like, first off, I'm already incredibly loud, and like with no one else really talking, I'm even louder. It's like, yeah, all right, interesting.
It's weird that no one talks in it.
It was cool.
in
Good
a
pizza
place
though.
like that. Great.
That's what you want to take away from this.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2, Sony revealed that it has significantly underestimated demand for the PlayStation 4's camera. The camera remains, quote, severely supply constrained, end quote, the company revealed, and has an attach rate of 15%, meaning that nearly 900,000 have been sold so far. Sony asked for patience as they refill commercial channels with the product. We've known this for a while based on just anecdotal evidence that it's impossible to find the PlayStation camera. And I think they just underestimated how many people want to play the Playroom. Actually, it's because they want to stream.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Shuhei talked about that in our interview as well. Just the fact that he knew it was coming, but he couldn't convince the business people to get on board, and now here we're there.
It was interesting, actually, to hear him talk about how they come up with their forecasts and stuff like that. He actually kind of went into it a little bit, which was interesting, like the numbers and all that. I always find that kind of stuff fascinating.
Nerd.
Number 3.
Loser.
Number 3.
Don't let him see you cry.
PlayStation 4 demand continues to be high. Sony revealed that demand will continue to outstrip supply until the summer. Sony's Andrew House noted that the company is quote-unquote struggling to fulfill demand, but is doing the best they can, and that summer seems to be the time when PS4s can be readily purchased by consumers in person and online.
Wow.
So that's cool.
That's incredible. This is sort of like an original Wii situation here, right?
Yeah, it is. And like, people get mad at me when I say this, but like Nintendo artificially makes demand by not producing enough product, and this is something that they've done since the NES days. And don't get mad at me and call me a fanboy. It's in Game Over, which is probably the best video game history book ever made. They have always built this into the way they market their machines. They always don't build enough of them. They make artificial demand so that when you go in the store and see one, you have to buy it. It's very smart. It works for them. It worked on the NES. It worked on the Wii. Sony's demand is not artificial. They can only make so many of them, and they're actually selling through. So it's actually a pretty remarkable thing. And to reiterate, you should read Game Over. It was written about 22 years ago.
It's available on Kindle now, too.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was and it was updated by
purchased
Andy
it
Eddy.
recently. Yeah, it was. Great book. It's probably one of the reasons I work in this industry. It's just I try to read through it once every few years.
Yeah,
Super Specs writes into Beyond at IGN.com just like you can. It says Beyond.
Beyond.
To Colin, Greg, and the ever-rotating third chair.
Hi.
That's you.
What's up?
I've had a PS4 since launch, and while it seems the hardware is a definite improvement, the current crop of games seem to offer little more than slightly prettier versions of games that could have been done on the PS3. I know it's ridiculous, but I actually feel some resentment toward the little black box under my telly and the fact that I have paid £400 for the privilege of buying the same games all over again. What are your thoughts?
Why did he pay in pounds? when he could have paid in dollars and kept the pounds on his body.
For a penny, in for a pound. I don't understand that.
So I used to share this same sort of resentment.
You were resenting your PS4?
No, I mean I loved it, and I put in more time with it than I have
Your Xbox One?
my Xbox One, probably by a pretty good margin. But little by little, I started to realize, and we've said this here before, that this generation isn't entirely just about more graphics and better graphics and, you know, bigger worlds and more playable characters and stuff like that. It's just sort of, a lot of it is the Twitch streaming. A lot of it is the ease of use. A lot of it is that I turn on my PS4 and within 2 seconds I'm playing a game and I can put it in standby and watch a movie and switch to something else. I'm really, really digging the sort of breadth of indies that are coming to PS4 right now. Like SteamWorld Dig just hit. Fez, I was playing Fez this morning and I was just like, this is great to be able to do all this stuff here. I like that there's cross-buy on a lot of things. That being said, Infamous Second Son absolutely could not have been done on a PS3. Sure. Like that game would have made a PS3 cry. I think it looks incredible. I think if you haven't played that yet, that's where to start. If you're looking for something that's like, damn, this is the game that really shows off what the power of the system.
It's an incremental step up, right?
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about. Like today I had to turn on the PS3 to download a couple things for my Vita and then just to have for the office. And like just going back to that into the XMB and how slow it is to load your account to get into your download list to take your it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And, but like, yeah, what you're talking about, the PS4 is just boom, boom, like a nice background music and everything's done. You know what I mean?
See, that's the thing.
Sync, it's over.
I still have like one foot in last gen because like Last of Us DLC came out, South Park came out. I'm still jumping back and forth here and there. And yeah, you go back in time just to the PS3 and you're like, oh my god. Like,
I'm going to put so many more hours into Minecraft when Minecraft comes to PS4 and Vita.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like, because I don't feel like dealing with the PS3's crap right now.
Yeah, I think like the what is it, the XMB or whatever the hell it is. It's just slow, it's clunky, it's like this trotting dinosaur across the page, and I'm happy to move on.
So it's one of those things I think he's understandable to feel like, oh man, why did I buy this? But that's what everybody was telling you before you jumped in, right? Like I was very clear that I didn't need to spend all this money on an Xbox One and a PS4. These aren't machines you need right now. You rarely ever need a console at launch, I think, personally.
Yep.
You can wait for price drops. You can wait for bundles.
Yeah.
And so that's what it came down to. You're tip of the sword, but there's plenty coming.
It's been 6 months? Not even? 5 months?
Yeah.
4 months?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, give it some time. Like, you jumped in early. We all did. We had to because we love PlayStation. But
we love games.
Yeah, give it some time.
On my body.
I mean, you're going to look at this thing in 3 years and be like, I can't believe there was even a moment where I didn't know what to play.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that moment. Number 4 will put his mind at ease. But, there's a lot of game. Like, I don't like the differentiation between AAA games, exclusive games, third-party games, and indie games. Now, yes, it's true. PS4 has a woeful lack of announced AAA exclusives. There's no doubt about that. And like it's frustrating to me too. Like I want to know, like a lot of these studios are not dormant. We just don't know what they're doing. And I don't understand why they're keeping so many cards close to their chest. But E3 is right around the corner and I'm sure they'll announce a bunch of games there. But the indie game, like I never understood the mentality of people that are like, oh, fuck indie games and I don't want to play indie. It's like, so you want to spend, all you want to do is go to the store, buy a $60 disc and play a lot of the same kinds of games over again when you can buy 6 of those at $10 each on PlayStation Network that are mostly better than a lot of the retail games that you can, and a game could be long. Rainbow Moon was a JRPG that was 100 hours long and it was $15. So it's not like you have to like get your $100 JRPG fix by buying Final Fantasy 13-3 or whatever.
Sure. No, I'm totally with you on that.
Games are games are games.
Yeah, it really infuriates me sometimes. Like SteamWorld Dig, one of my favorite games ever made on the 3DS. Fantastic game. Is now on Vita and PS4. And it's $10. And it's like 10 or 12 hours, and it's like this Metroidvania, and it's awesome. And if I just sat there and I was like, it's got cartoon graphics, that should be free on iPhone, I'd be an idiot missing out on a lot of cool stuff. So, like,
it's one of those things, I was talking about it before we started the show. Today I missed my bus stop, or my train stop, because I was playing Luftrausers on the Vita or whatever, right? And I know that game's been around, you know what I mean? But I'm not a PC guy, right? I wasn't going to go out and seek it out on those platforms. But when it comes here and it's easy and it's portable, right into it, and then I took 2 days off to play Metal Gear and Titanfall and a bit of Detonation with Colin, and this was by far the most engaging, fun. Like I lost myself in what I was doing.
I mean, play Fez, play Strider, play like these games that are cheap awesome. And they're fun and they're right there and they're on the PS4. And it doesn't say Ubisoft underneath, and we didn't have to look at like 3 years worth of fake screenshots until we finally played a version that looked way worse.
Yeah, I mean, if all the indie games disappeared tomorrow that are coming to digital platforms, you wouldn't have more AAA games. That's not how it works.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's like there'd be not. No, if there weren't these indies, there'd be a slew of every month or every week. I'd have a new AAA.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I appreciate the AAA. Like Infamous is a AAA game. Took 3 years to make. A studio of 100 people. Like that's a great game. But the most exciting games to me right now are like Velocity 2X I played last week, which is Velocity Ultra's sequel. That game is fucking superb.
Yeah.
You know, that's a studio of like 6 people. You know, I'm super excited about Shovel Knight, which is from Yacht Club Games.
Yeah,
It's coming
totally.
to Wii U. That game looks awesome. It's an 8-bit game with parallax scrolling and all sorts of weird shit in it. And that game is much more exciting to me than The Order. You know,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest with you.
No, that's good.
So,
Sure. No, I'm with you.
So yeah, I think you got to just kind of if you're in that mentality, you got to shake out of it because you are missing out on a ton of shit.
Yep.
Especially on Vita. But number 4, to stem the tide of discontent, Sony released a list of over 100 games that are still coming to PlayStation 4 in 2014.
Yay!
The list can be found on IGN and consists mostly of indie games as well as third-party AAA titles and a small handful of exclusives. The list is pretty impressive.
Did they put release dates on them, or is it just a list
It's
of
like
games that are
it's
coming?
like spring, summer, fall, winter.
I didn't get a
and
chance to look at
TBA.
this. Is Minecraft on there? Do you
Yes,
know? Is it
and
in
TBA.
spring? Oh, damn.
There's still no. Okay, great.
What? There's no
like a defined hard release date where I know I can play that on my PS4.
No. I'm more excited about it on Vita.
Yeah, me too. But I just
but-
want to play more Minecraft.
But yeah, there's probably an exclusivity deal that they have to, like a timed exclusivity deal, obviously with Xbox. Number 5. This is a good one. In a strange twist, Bethesda has revealed a special edition of Wolfenstein: The New Order that doesn't include the actual game. The collector's edition comes with a statue of Panzerhund, as well as maps, case files, letters, blueprints, 14 vintage-style postcards, patches, dog tags, and a steelbook for the game, but not the actual game.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. $100.
So that's
Is
not.
that fucking weird?
I mean, that's not even a. What do you even call that? That's not a. That's because that's not a collector's edition, right?
They call it the collector's edition. Yeah.
But it's not an addition.
No, it's just the collector's.
It's a subtraction.
I like that.
That was really good.
Should I
just
say
thought
that
was
for
funny.
open noon?
I thought that was funny.
No, you can still say it.
That's fine.
Nobody cares.
Number 6. Anti-violent video game crusader Leland Yee, a state senator from California representing San Francisco, has been arrested by the FBI and will be charged with corruption and bribery.
Yes.
Oh.
Yee, who made his name in the gaming industry with the law banning the sale of games to minors, a law which the Supreme Court overturned, was arrested and brought to San Francisco's federal building where he awaits a hearing. Yee is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Look at the grin on Colin's face.
I just want to say that this guy has said a ton of terrible shit about gamers.
Yep.
And it's not even a personal thing, really. What really bothered me about him is that he represents San Francisco, which is the bastion of gaming and technology in California.
Yes.
So you're not
Yes.
even you have the balls to represent a place, and you're not even really representing their most important industry, which is fucking tech.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know. So to me, that was like totally. He was totally weird. I called all 3 of his offices today to try to get comment. No one answered the phone.
Did you see his door?
What?
They were tweeting police photos. They ripped off the front door of his office building and then nailed it back up. They went up, went into his apartment, ripped off his office building, everything, and took everything. Yeah, it's sort of like biting the hand that feeds you, right? Like the guy, he operates out of San Francisco, and San Francisco brings in tons of money from gaming. Gaming brings in money from all over the world into San Francisco. So I still don't understand. It feels very archaic and very 90s to me that every now and then, like once every year or so, some crazy old man gets up and he's like, video games are shit and they're violent and they're blah, 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 blah.
They're
Like,
ruining the minds of these children.
exactly. And it's so backwards. And little by little, none of these people ever go on to like take us down. That's never happened. Like historically, what happens is they prove themselves to be crazy or invaluable or kicked off the fucking board. Like what's his name? Jack Thompson or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
Jack Thompson, yeah.
Disbarred.
yeah, where they're just like, get out of here. We don't want you here anymore. You Dr. Wily-ass, crazy-looking old man. Get the hell out. Because, little by little, like, look, we have a rating system, and we have parents, and we have measures in place to keep children from playing violent games. And that starts there. And at the end, if you want to turn this around and say it's the gaming industry's fault and have politicians blame video gamers and advocates of video games for violence and stuff like that, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it puts a smile on my face to see things like this happen.
Yeah,
because usually it's the people talking shit are corrupt pieces of shit like this dude.
Yeah, that's the great irony is that, things tend to collapse on people he would, he didn't believe in. He believed in scapegoating with things like, what happened in Connecticut at the school shooting and stuff like that, blaming gamers. I'm trying to pull up his exact quote. That like set me the fuck off last year when I read it or whatever, because it wasn't so much. I appreciated that he wanted to presumably protect
the children.
Protect kids from being able to buy games. Like, that doesn't seem unreasonable to me. But yeah, we already have like a a law. Like, the gaming industry is does its own law. Yeah, self-polices itself, exactly. Based on the ESRB and all that kind of stuff and what happened in the early 90s in Congress. But it's just weird to me that he has, I guess, the balls and the tenacity to say, like, to kind of take out all their these people scapegoating things on video games and all these kinds of things, and he's just an asshole and he's just corrupt. And who is he going to fucking scapegoat?
Yep.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Let's see if I can find this. Hold on, just 1 second. Because this
Brian
quote,
and I full time.
Yeah.
What are you doing for your birthday?
I'm going out to dinner.
Where are you gonna go?
I think a nice Mediterranean restaurant.
Oh, okay. Which one?
I don't want to say the name because I don't want a bunch of crazy people showing up.
No. Okay.
this will go up.
Good point. No, it probably won't. The MP3 will go up before dinner.
Yeah. No, I trust people, but we're just at that point where somebody will be like, "Hey, that politician you made fun of today, that's my uncle," and then he'll kill me.
Wow. You think that's the point we're at?
And I'll die at a Mediterranean restaurant, and not an Italian restaurant.
That's where you want to die.
Yeah.
You
Except for
die
that deaf
Buca di
one, because
Beppo.
then people won't hear me get shot.
They'd see it. They'd call it.
There's marinara on his shirt again. That's a problem for me.
Here's the quote. Oh, an ad just came up over. Okay. Gamers. This was after what happened in Newtown, Connecticut. Gamers have got to just quiet down. Gamers have no credibility in this argument. This is about their lust for violence and the industry's lust for money. This is a billion-dollar industry. This is about their self-interest. This is a man who represents San Francisco.
Not a
Have
fan
fun
of
with
that
the FBI. Number 7. Layoffs have hit 3 more Sony-owned studios. Guerrilla Cambridge, the studio behind Killzone Mercenary on Vita, SCE London, the PlayStation ecosystem's casual game studio, and Evolution, the studio known for MotorStorm and currently working on DriveClub, all had staff reductions of an unknown size. We wish the very best to all those affected.
Ryan writes in and says Beyond.
Beyond.
With the recent happenings at Evolution, do you think DriveClub will see a release even within a couple years? With the director leaving, the layoffs at Evolution, and the news last week about the game going back to the drawing board, do you think we will ever see this title?
Yeah, I think we'll see it.
Yeah.
How far out?
Far out, man.
Far out, bro.
I think it'll come out this year.
Really?
But I don't. I think the game's in trouble. I think there's problems with the game. But here's the way I look at it. Just kind of putting things together. They didn't announce the delay of DriveClub until about 6 weeks before PS4 came out. So like, it seemed like they were gonna hit the date until like really close to that, like when they realized that they probably had to go to cert or not.
You really
so,
think so?
Yeah. So like, I don't feel like. I feel like they would have been smart enough to say something earlier than that, because it actually made it look worse by announcing it that late. So I think that there's a fundamental problem with a part of the game.
Sure.
And I don't know.
And that's what going back to the drawing board is for?
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think that there's a lot involved when it comes to doing something like that. I think there's a lot of shareholders and investors that are sort of just like, this game's been announced, like, let's not take more wind out of the sales of the PS4 right now. The actual sales. The boat sales.
Right.
Which lead to real sales in stores, like selling things. But I think there's a lot more involved, which is kind of like the sad part of this industry. It's not just like a creative team can bring a game out to us and be like, hey, it's not ready, it's delayed. I think they're probably like, we're going to try and make this work, but we really want to tell people it's delayed right now. And they're like, kind of suffocate that, hold it on for a little bit.
Yeah, it could be.
That's my theory.
I think it's weird. I think the one thing that's weird is that there's typically not layoffs at a studio where they're crunching. So
that is weird.
Well, let's go to number 8, and this might bring some more clarity.
Okay.
DriveClub's director has left Evolution Studios to found his own studio called Big Red Switch Games. Carl Rogers left the studio in February and has previous experience at Codemaster, Sega, and EA. Whether this affects the development of DriveClub remains to be seen.
It's awfully close to Knob Switch, which was our game, our independent game we were talking about.
So the director left the studio.
Yeah.
They had layoffs. I don't know.
You're thinking it's done, or as close to being done.
I just think that there's a fundamental issue with the. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't have any information. I just feel like there's probably just something about the game that, you know.
The cars don't move.
I was going to say, they got to the end and like, nobody animated the tires.
They put squares there. Gunk, gunk, gunk.
So I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like, the layoffs indicate to me that the game might be released soon because maybe they're entering cert. in which case they don't need the developers anymore, but they are trying to get everything in before April 1st when they're.
So what does that mean for us that they're pushing out a 6?
I don't know. I mean, the game might be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. Evolution's a good studio,
Right.
Sure.
And they were given a second lease on life after MotorStorm Apocalypse, which they deserved because MotorStorm Apocalypse was screwed over.
Yeah, exactly. Time around a natural disaster. Your game about natural disasters. But that's a similar thing, right? Where the release day got moved and then there was no promotion when it came out. It just came out, which would be the weird thing here. If it's like you already insert and they're gonna make an announcement later this month that it's out next month or something, and then what the?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna try to stealth release it or not. We'll see.
Stealth.
Where are we? Number 9, Seth Killian has left Sony Santa Monica. He left several months ago, but the news just went public. The man best known for his long tenure at Capcom is moving on to develop games of his own and said on Twitter to stay tuned for future developments. The only game at Sony he was known to intimately work on was PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Do you guys remember the news when he left Capcom for Sony for PlayStation? Mm-hmm. We were like, this is, I mean, for an upcoming fighting game, that's pretty much the best news you could possibly get, right? The fact that the game didn't pan out to really have legs for Sony is something different, but that was huge. So I'm really interested to see what he does next. Like, his pedigree is amazing. I don't know how that works to me, I think a lot of people think of fighting games as very simplistic, but they're probably incredibly complicated.
Oh my God, they're so complicated.
And I don't know if that's something. We'll have to see the size of his studio to see if we can expect another fighting game from him. But it seems like that's his shit, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like,
he has to be doing fighting game stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he comes out with an RTS, I'll stab him.
You think so?
I'll stab you, Seth Killian.
Number 10, Sony revealed that its free-to-play business is flourishing on both PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, and that its revenue is up 50% year over year, though it didn't give exact figures. Depending on the game, between 3 and 15% of players are converted to paying customers. Numbers are comparable to PC free-to-play gaming on PS3, with the numbers actually trending higher on PlayStation 4.
DCUO!
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Is that in,
we had put up an article about how
Warframe or whatever?
They had done well.
Warframe. And
they did really well on the PlayStation 4 jump. There was an article about that, talking to Jens.
Here's why I like this.
Lay it on me.
I don't feel like this is an issue that gets shoved down my throat a lot as a PlayStation gamer. Like, this is not something that constantly pops up in my face the way it does on mobile games or something, or somewhere else. I'm playing my PS4 games all the time. When I read this story the other day, I was shocked. I was like, really? Who's doing this? Because I don't see ads all over the place. It's not constantly like, buy this, do that. Maybe I don't lean towards a lot of those games inherently, but I don't think a lot of people that bought all this stuff did either. I think they just downloaded some games on their PS4, started playing it, and they're like, "Oh, I can get this cool ninja sword."
Well,
for
that's always
$5.
that's always the attachment we talk about, right? And the fact that I talk a lot about DC Universe Online. So then, if this pie of people go and play it, and then a third of them, a fourth of them, a fifth of them play it, then another fifth of those people actually put $1 down to buy this green ore or whatever, and then it's a different story.
So I think, in-game purchases has this very sort of negative, cloudy kind of connotation over it, and for justifiable causes in most cases, I'd say. But on the PlayStation 4 ecosystem, I don't feel like it's shoved in my face. I can still play my games without having to worry about this trash.
Yes.
Sweet.
Spot on.
Number 11. Ubisoft has confirmed the next Assassin's Creed game after a leak outed it. Assassin's Creed Unity is due out this fall on PlayStation 4 as well as Xbox One and PC. A rumored current-gen version codenamed Comet may also exist, although Ubisoft has yet to comment on that.
Yet to comment on that.
They haven't commented on the Comet.
There we go.
I still have to beat Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
You never will.
I know.
I
like it a lot. Love that game. But I just need to nut up or shut up on it, I guess. Keep unlocking them islands.
Yeah.
Stabbing them whales.
See, I liked it. I had fun with the with a lot of the side stuff. I think that...
Did you beat it?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I don't see how I ever will. I mean, keep it moving, right?
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Too much to play. Too much to do.
Yep.
I love New York Comic Con.
Number 12. Longtime Sony Santa Monica employee and director of God of War 3, Stig Asmussen, actually, has officially left Sony Santa Monica. It was presumed that his game was canceled following the layoffs at Sony Santa Monica several weeks ago, and it's unclear whether he left on his own or was laid off himself. Either way, we wish him the best. He's OG as they come at Santa Monica. Stig.
He's in an Academy Art commercial.
Yes.
So he's got things going for him.
I'm sure he'll be fun.
He'll probably be professor there.
Do you think so? That's how it works?
Probably not. I don't know. You tell me.
If you're in a commercial, you become the professor.
Isn't that how it always works?
Is Ronald McDonald the professor of McDonald's? That was a bad analogy.
Yeah.
They have Hamburger College. They have Hamburger U.
Yeah.
He's probably teaching
Crazy
there.
Party School.
Yeah.
Number 13. A new update for PlayStation Vita has been released. The firmware raises the number of applications you can have on your home screen from 100 to 500. It also adds calendar functionality, parental controls, and voice messaging.
Wow. That calendar I was depressed to see that this morning. I was like, get out of here. What the hell do I want this for?
Oh, did it just pop up?
Yeah, I went to transfer over Fez, and it was like, hey, you got to update it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Updated it, and then I went through my thing, and that is all neat and tidy, and it's like, here's calendar.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
Drag that into the folder I call PS crap of stuff I don't want and can't delete.
I have the same thing on my Vita. It's my junk folder.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of trash I can't delete.
You open it up, and Nier's like, help, you want to play? You're like, no, go away.
It's the same thing on my iPhone. It's like, stocks. I'm like, get out of here,
Yeah,
stocks.
exactly,
I don't know what to do
yeah.
with you. Oh, the
Newsstand.
NASDAQ is up 4%. Goodbye. Get away from me.
Number 14, Far Cry 4 has been revealed and will be released in the first half of 2015 if sources talking to Eurogamer are correct. The game purportedly takes place in the Himalayas, has rideable elephants, and segues away from its tropical roots. It's reportedly coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It's unclear whether it will also come to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I fucking loved Far Cry 3, so I can't wait for that.
Do they just leave shit at restaurants at Ubisoft? They just go out and just leave everything.
They're the worst, right? With
everything they do leak. It's them and Sony. I mean, we knew about Project Morpheus except for the name, but
depends on what you know. The Sony studios seem to be pretty tight-lipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Last of Us, Uncharted.
That's true. That's stuff. But it's all their hardware stuff we always know about. I always wondered how video game leaks happen. And then there was that one last year that Andrew Goldfarb wrote about. Do you remember where somebody actually left something at a restaurant?
Oh, that happens all the time.
The iPhone was left at...
that was at a bar, yeah.
Yeah.
There was another one where somebody was just like,
Oh,
here's the new Destiny. Was it Destiny? Yeah. We found out
at
at Destiny because somebody left a folder at a restaurant.
It was funny when the Assassin's Creed leak stuff happened. I was looking through all the old stuff that I forget who had a timeline up of other leaks, and somebody's on a plane editing the Black Flag logo, and somebody saw it and took a photo. I'm like, you idiot.
So with this one, actually, there was with the new Assassin's Creed game, there was a NeoGAF thread about this guy who's like, guess what, you guys? I was on an airplane and it was great, but there was a guy sitting next to me and he was like, are you playing Assassin's Creed on your Vita? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, I make Assassin's Creed. And I was like, no way. And he was like, prove it. And he pulled out his iPad and showed me the trailer for the new Assassin's Creed game. And it takes place in Paris and it's called Unity. And everyone was like, bullshit, you little liar. And it's all true. Don't let these people fly.
That's the moral of the story. All right, new games. Number 15. PS Vita game Ollie Ollie is officially being ported to PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. The original Hotline Miami is coming to PlayStation 4. Lego Ninjago Nindroids is coming to PS Vita. A remake of PS3's Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth is coming to PS Vita. Hatsune Miku Project Diva F2 is coming to PS3 and Vita.
Good lord.
That's
so
it.
for all the people who are saying they weren't AAA games, don't forget about Project Mexica.
Got that Hotline
That's it.
Miami.
That's all the news for your Roper Report. You've left off the most important one as usual. Let me dig out number 16 here and get it up. This one was submitted by Brendan to beyond@ign.com. Judge Joe Brown has been arrested.
Yeah, I saw
How do
that.
you feel about this, Colin Moriarty? I didn't know about this. I had to look it up. Did you
Man
know?
up.
No.
Man up. Judge Joe Brown gained... This is from the AP. Joe Brown gained fame by... meting out justice as a TV judge. Now he's the one facing charges. Brown, the star of the television show Judge Joe Brown, and present-day political candidate, didn't know what that either,
Yeah, I didn't know.
has a court hearing April 4 in Tennessee on his challenge of contempt of court charges handed down Monday by a Shelby County juvenile court magistrate. Brown, 66, was arrested and sentenced to 5 days in jail during outbursts in a child support hearing before juvenile court magistrate Judge Harold Hal Horn. Brown was later released from jail by the blah 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 blah.
Is that the dude who in the title for his show he's like, I was raised in the streets?
Yeah,
No,
that was different.
Different guy?
Shit, what was that guy's name?
I can picture him, flat top,
Yeah,
glasses,
yeah.
goatee.
Who's Joe Brown?
Joe Brown's
He's
like
a man
an
up.
old, yeah, he's like an older
He's an
black guy.
He's an older guy. He's much more stern.
So he got unruly in the court.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
the
he
be-
got
Judge Mathis is who you're talking about.
Judge Mathis. Yeah, he's a good man.
The cool thing about Joe Brown,
good
though,
man.
in this article, they interview him about it, like, oh, would you, if you could do it again, would you not be an outburst? He's like, no, I do it every time. It was outrageous, and yeah, I'm like, yeah,
Wow, that's
go get
awesome.
him, Judge Joe Brown, you got it.
Yeah, Judge Joe Brown, doesn't get a lot of credit, a lot of FaceTime with a lot of people. But when Greg and I were at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, like down 3 or 4 years ago, we were watching it for some reason, and we might have been drunk. I don't really remember.
No.
But like the commercials for it were all like, "Man up, Judge Joe Brown."
Were you drunk in the morning? Because they don't show that show at night.
It
Well,
might
just
have been like 2 in the
commercials.
afternoon.
Okay. I wonder what would happen if one night, like, some major network television just pulled all of its important shows off and just put only like the TV morning judges.
I wish I can go home at like 9 at night and watch Maury and Dr. Phil and show like that.
I know.
Oh, it'd be the best.
I know.
Judge Judy's still on that late, but I like daytime TV, man.
That's when
It's
what's
a
great about
cesspool.
it it's bad television, but it's great because you know you're not anywhere else. You're not at school and you're not at work.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what's on.
It takes you back all the time to
Yeah.
being sick.
And it's all everything you watch is about. They're all just like people being lazy, and then they go to commercial breaks, and it's like try these electric scissors, and it's like, oh, were you killed by an alligator at school? Like, no,
You don't have to live this dead end life. Go to college now.
Did you slip on some water at the Stop and Shop?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's never happened.
My favorite
You
show.
need an easy way out.
My favorite show still is
I'm
daytime.
Peter Francis Geraci, and I'll represent you.
It's to say, yeah, Warriors, technical colleges.
Yeah.
What
and
was it?
nursing
Schools
commercials.
now, like
Was it
dental
1-800 Lawyers we had on the East Coast growing
Yeah.
up, or was this very dark background and this dude came out of nowhere with like a mustache? He's like, "Have you been injured in a court of law?" I'm like, whoa! Where this haunted man come from? With this crazy like, what he looked like Ravishing Rick Rude.
The best show still, if anyone watches daytime TV or is home sick or whatever, Steve Wilkos show is the
Oh
fucking
my God.
best. The best. Steve Wilkos was the
He was the
bodyguard
security
on-
guard.
on
Jerry Springer.
Oh my God,
And now he has
that's
his
right.
own show where
It's been
like,
going for years.
yeah, and a lot of it is basically most of the episodes are about if people abuse their kids. So like he has like the mom on think like she finds her baby with like bruises. Then the man who thinks he thinks did it comes on and he goes to sit down in the chair and then Steve says he can't sit down so they take the chair away and then for 40 minutes this guy's just standing on the stage and
Why he doesn't let him sit down?
yeah no he won't let him
You're
sit
gonna hit
down.
a kid, you don't get to sit. Those are the
And then
rules on
everyone's like,
Steve shit.
Steve! And I was like, holy shit, this show is fucking awesome.
I used to love when he would just like he would have to like he'd come to work and they'd be like, "You got to fight a clown today." And
Yeah,
and
right.
a dwarf because she's cheating on him with the guy that works at Medieval Times.
Dude, Springer was the best.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched it in years, but like my favorite was like when they would have.
It was morning wrestling.
Yeah, it was. But like I loved like the ones where they have the feasts. You know what I'm talking about? Like where they'd have people eating.
Oh,
It was,
right,
like-
right, right,
it was, like-
right.
And it's like they put all of this food on the, and it's like, oh come on,
You know
Like,
it's gonna
yeah,
happen.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's
Exactly.
So
It
good.
was just like the King's Court on WWE. Like they set up the whole thing. It would be like this beautiful table and a nice chair, and he had his robe and everything. You'd be like, this is going to shit.
You know who I was thinking about the other day was Richard Bay. Remember him?
Yeah,
I don't know him. I don't remember him.
He was on in like the early mid '90s. So very kind of similar. It wasn't quite as bad as Springer. It was more like Sally Jesse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sally Jesse kept it. I mean, she kept the.
She was right in the middle there.
She kept the lid on the stove.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What was the guy? I can't remember the name for some reason.
Phil Donahue.
No, the guy. It was like Phil Donahue, but the right wing guy that was on in the late '80s. There's a documentary on Netflix about him.
That's I remember. I know what you're talking
It's
about.
awesome. Oh shit! What the hell is this? I'm gonna look it up.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to go to the Andrew Goldfarb Memorial list of upcoming software on all three platforms or PlayStation software by all three platforms by the editors.
No, that was good.
Dun, 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 dun. PlayStation 4 gets Dynasty Warriors 8, digital and retail. I'm reading Colin's Chicken Scratch. PS4 gets Fez digital. PS3 gets Blaze Blue.
Final Phantasm.
Banana Phantasm retail.
Anna Banana Phantasm retail. That's right.
Caleb's big game. Cabela's Big Game Hunter Pro Hunts retail and digital. Deception 4 Blood Ties retail and digital. Dynasty Warriors 8X digital and retail. Fez digital. The Witch and the 100 Knight. And then it looks at the bottom we got TNN Motorsports. Hardcore TR PS1 Classic. Okay. Vita's gets Destiny of Spirits digital. Dynasty Warriors 8X digital and retail. Fez digital.
My handwriting's all right.
It's not terrible. You just you're one of those guys who kind of merge cursive in printing. Mm-hmm. Like like your Cabela's that could be cursive almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
By the way,
especially Anna Banana down there.
Morton Downey Jr. is who we're.
That's
thinking
who
about.
it was.
You
I thought that was one of the Koopa kids.
No, the Koopa kid was named after him.
Really?
Yeah. Morton Downey Jr. was you remember him because he was on only in New York for like a while until he like went national. He was like the fucking crazy dude that would smoke cigarettes on.
Yeah,
And like he would like yell at his guests and like the crowd would go crazy. There's a
I missed
documentary
that.
called Evocateur that just was released on Netflix. It's about him and it's awesome. You like should totally watch it. The guy's I remember that show like when I was really young. I remember watching that show. And I shouldn't have been watching it. It was on like 9 on like WPIX or something like that.
One of those channels. I don't even think it exists anymore.
Yeah, like
Remember,
Channel
the
11 or something.
WB11.
Yeah, WB11, man.
You've got it. Topic of the week, Colin.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get through this No, there's going to be spoilers for Infamous 1, 2, and now Second Son a little bit. Not that much Second Son, I don't think. I think we can get around without spoiling Second Son.
And let's be clear, by the way, today should go up in audio and video form the infamous Second Son spoilercast that we recorded last week.
I'll probably flip that. I bet the video goes up today, audio go live tomorrow.
Okay.
That way I can keep it spread
We'll
out.
put that as a podcast beyond so you can
There
download
is a pod. Yeah, exactly. There's an hour-long Infamous Second Son spoiler cast coming your way. A lot of people have
in
been
case you're
tweeting
wondering why
asking
we
about
haven't talked about it.
Exactly. But topic of the week here is pitting the heroes against each other. Parker writes in and says Beyond.
Beyond.
Greg, Colin, and rotating third chair.
Hi.
That's you, Brian Altano. Infamous Second Son is out. Embargo lifted, and the spoiler cast is about to be live. Now is time for the question on the mind of every Infamous fan. Who would win in a fight, Cole or Delsin? Thanks as always, Parker. Knee-jerk reaction, I'm saying Cole. Now,
really?
I know. The problem here, of course, is this is where we start to spoil Second Son a little bit. Delsin touches you, he gets your power. Delsin has multiple powers, right?
Right.
Cole, if he's alive, from Infamous 2, would have 3 powers at his disposal. Or maybe just 2, I guess, depending on how you played or whatever, right? So he's ice and fire, or whatever the fuck, oil, whatever they called that at the time, and then his electricity. I think Cole has overcome greater obstacles than Delsin. I think he's a more refined hero. He's been through a lot. He fights the beast and takes him down theoretically.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think he knows he's willing to make the tough choices.
I think you strip powers away entirely, it's definitely Cole.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
he's just a tougher dude.
Sure.
Just in general. He
Yeah.
just looks like a guy that could kick Delsin's ass. Delsin
Right.
looks like a guy in like the 4th row at a ska concert.
Sure.
But you throw in the powers, Delsin's got him beat easily. Like Delsin can turn invisible. He can fly actually fly in a much more fundamental way. Like Cole needs to ride the train lines everywhere. to
Sure.
really get
He's
anywhere.
got that glide. I mean, we're not racing. They're not racing. They're just duking it out.
Right, but I mean, okay, so, but that you can change scenarios like that, right? Like they could fly up on a roof and then throw one of them off the roof. The other one's got to glide
Nobody
down.
gets hurt by fall damage.
What if you put rocks in his legs?
Sure, I've heard that hurts.
Yeah.
And a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this is the whole thing. You're playing it on paper. On paper, the beast just squashed Cole in 2 seconds. Just
Okay.
stepped on him. It's over. But Cole overcame. I think also Cole has a better supporting cast of stronger people to help him.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
you think the wussy kid with the computers, Eugene, is going to be able to take down Nyx? No way. Quo? No way.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Eugene turns into that, like, giant lion monster.
Sure.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
That helps.
But, you know,
I
Delsin,
just feel like Delsin's powers in general are stronger and more varied. And he's got more to...
they're more varied for sure.
Yeah. Like, it's not just, like, fire and ice. Like, that's kind of... There's not a lot there.
Sure.
Like with video, you're like shooting these spears down, and
Yeah.
and Neon, you're like, first, I think he has an advantage at night just with Neon, and he can slow down
Well, yeah, 'cause
time,
he's super-
shoot his legs, hit him, stun him, kill him, whatever he needs to do.
But Cole can move at the speed of electricity. Just zap around. Colin,
Does electricity work on rocks?
where are you coming down?
Because Delsin can become a giant bolt.
No, rock can't
boulder.
conduct
true.
electricity.
It's true.
So this is a classic
true.
rock paper scissors thing we might end up.
We
with
learned
here.
this from Pokemon, didn't we?
Yeah. And Battle Beasts.
I don't really have an opinion on this other than to say we could have found out in Infamous Second Son, but we didn't.
Yeah. Well,
And
then
that's
we would have
basically
won.
where I stand.
That's how it would have happened.
Yeah, but we could have still found out. If Cole
Well, no.
ever appeared at all in the game,
Well,
would
yeah.
have been nice.
Why would they fight? That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wasn't Cole in the game?
But if you're okay, so here's the thing then: if Cole was in that game and they fought, you would have beaten Cole probably because
Yeah.
the game's about Delsin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about
Or
Cole.
maybe not.
Or
Maybe Cole died. Maybe
you
Cole
knock
beat
each other
Delsin.
out and then realize you're friends. That's always that cheap out for a video.
But that's like when Spider-Man fights the Hulk. Like it's not like no one ever actually dies or
sure. Well, this is the problem with pitting fictional people against each other. Is that
Right.
there's no way to ever get a real answer.
Yeah.
I think both arguments hold weight.
Okay.
But think of it this way: even let's say they did fight, and to go more into my theory of him winning, Delsin grabs Cole to get electricity, and then he's got to go get the little power couplings or whatever around the city. He's screwed. He can't even fly
He's
at
not that
point.
screwed because Eugene apparently in the last battle in Infamous Second Son was just like, I'll be right back. I found like 12
True.
of them.
True,
He
sure.
starts throwing them through the windows and you're
Right.
grabbing them and you're
Good point. Good point.
So they're apparently there's a warehouse full of them in Seattle. That's where they are.
It's very convenient.
So it's pretty easy to find them there. But I agree. He can steal the powers, but he's useless without actually being able to do anything with them because he steals basically level 1 powers, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And he's got that. He's got to get that up to 10. Get that skill tree all.
Of course, if it's raining, as it does in Seattle, Cole's screwed.
right.
So there you go.
And
That's something
Delsin's
that's
not.
No, yeah, that's right.
Delsin can fall in water, but he doesn't do anything in it.
He's so juvenile, I think, though. That's his thing. He's so young. He's so green. Cole's seen so much horrible things.
That's-
And he's got
that-
the amp, which is way better than a chain.
I see. This is where I agree with you because, like, at their base, these characters, it's totally Cole. Like
Yeah.
he wipes the floor with Delson because he's just a punk kid at a ska concert. But throw in the powers, and I think Delson has it win.
Okay. And Colin, you're staying out. You're abstaining since you didn't get to see it happen in the video game.
Yeah, I'm just more bitter that Cole isn't an Infamous Second Son.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments who you think would win between Cole and Delson. Brian and I are deadlocked.
Sure.
Even though I think he makes great points.
Sure.
You want to talk some more Infamous, Colin?
I don't know, not too much. I mean, we have the spoiler cast, so
Yeah, but I want to ask. Here we go. David writes in. He says Beyond.
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 I just finished my platinum run of Infamous Second Son, and I loved it. I've been a huge fan of Infamous as a series as a whole. But this one in particular, the good or evil moral choice system, felt pretty antiquated. What are your thoughts on game developers using a binary moral choice system like those in Infamous or Mass Effect? In my opinion, the moral choice system used by Infamous or others isn't good for games because it actually hurts players who want to make some good and some bad choices.
Right. That's always a tough one for me because I don't think like I want to play completely as good cop or bad cop.
Right.
Like there are some games where I'm like in Infamous I'm like, well, yeah, that guy should die, or maybe he should live, but I want to be mostly good because I don't want to. Especially spoilers. Like I watched the video for the ending of Infamous.
Yeah.
On Evil. And it's horrifying. And it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's great if you're evil.
Yeah.
But me, I'm like, man, that seemed like a lot of things to do in a little argument with your grandmother.
Well, this is the problem with giving
Betty.
bonuses or different powers to everything. And I feel like pretty much from the get-go, right, if it's going to be your evil or good playthrough, you should basically, and it sucks, but make one choice and then just see how they play out.
Yeah.
Because it almost takes a little bit more out of it when you're like 3/4 of the way through and it's like, should you corrupt Eugene or save you? And I'm like, well, I've made how many other choices to get this thing on my back to get I'm not going to change now. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's in place to sort of pad the amount of time it takes you to play a game.
100%.
And sometimes that's a good, and sometimes it's an artificial padding. I think.
Yeah.
I actually prefer a game where I can just sort of just play through from start to finish without having to worry about this stuff. So I'm sort of with him on that. Because when I finish it, I didn't really want to go back and like question all my decisions that I made the first time.
Sure.
Just to see some new cutscenes.
Yeah.
So, and I think with like the furthering of like YouTube and stuff like that, like it's easy for me to just be like, oh, how
Right.
did that end? I'm gonna go
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah.
So all of that is lost on me in terms of padding the game to double the length, so I don't trade it in, Mr. Consumer or whatever. So I think it's pointless. I think just give me one vision as a narrative and as
Right.
storytellers of your game. Give me one vision and let me see it from start to finish, kind of like I did with The Last of Us. You
Right.
know?
Good point. Yeah, there's that was the thing we always talk about, right? We're going to spoil too much, but The Last of Us, you get to this thing where I was waiting for a choice to pop up.
Yeah.
And it didn't pop up. And I was like, that's crazy. I can't believe it, but I respect that choice. Like, it would have taken away to do that. And like,
Yep.
there's two canons now to The Last of Us, and which is the real one? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Colin, where do you come down on all this? You're a big Fallout fan, especially Fallout New Vegas. Where
Yeah,
you talk about
Fallout New Vegas is perfect.
Go ahead and tell
with that because Fallout New Vegas is gray. It's not black and white, and you don't know if the choices you're making are good or bad. In fact, the choices you make you think are good are actually bad in the game ultimately, and it changes. Like it actually has material change in the outcome of the game and what you do in the game. I still think the way Obsidian had handled New Vegas is probably the best I've ever seen choices in a game, and the ramifications of those choices, and the fact that you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard. This is a hard. Infamous has never been about choice to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's in there, but it's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's what is always weird when people get hung up on this and bring it up in discussion is the fact that I guess for me, I never look at Infamous that way. I never look at it as I want to mix and match my choices. I know I'm going to platinum it. I want to see both sides and
Sure.
see how he changes or the story changes. And that was a little bit of a letdown I felt this time around, right? Like in Infamous 2 and in Infamous 1, when you started becoming evil, right? You started looking like a vampire and like you looked way different. Here it's like, no, I got a red sweatshirt under my vest and my logo is different. It's like, oh. Okay, but like it would have been cooler to see you like really give in to being like a Sith or whatever.
Sure.
What you do at the end.
But we're all sort of
You
downplaying
just
this,
smile,
right?
idiot.
But I mean, like the Sucker Punch made it so one of the endings to Infamous 2 was like
The real end.
not gray. Like it was very canon. It was very, so I'd like to see them kind of wane off of that a little bit, and game developers in general just kind of stay away from that.
Yeah, I'd like to see them do something else now.
Yeah.
I don't even really want another Infamous game from them. It's cool if another studio does it, uses the engine, and just makes a different game. But
Bring it to Vita.
I want to see what else they can do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bring me that Zeke card game.
They're a pretty versatile studio. Like Sly Cooper is very different than Infamous, and I mean, there's shades of open worldness or whatever in Sly Cooper, which finds its way into Infamous, but they're different games. They both have parkour elements and stuff, but I'd like to see what the logical next evolution of them is. Probably a third-person game of some sort, but Infamous is great, but I think another studio can probably do it at this point, especially because the tech is there and the story is just not that good anymore.
Sure.
So, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Travis writes in to Beyond at IGN.com and says, Beyond.
When
I was still in high school, I worked at a movie theater. One day after finishing Metal Gear Solid, The Twin Snakes, I caught my buddy and my usher buddy huddled around the screen watching a trailer for the new Metal Gear game, Snake Eater. It was a 15-minute video that would forever change my world and begin my Metal Gear Solid addiction. I asked him how he found the video, and he replied, IGN. I didn't have a computer or internet access at home, so after that, whenever I did get my hands on a computer, the first website I always went to was IGN. Occasionally, there are some really fascinating articles on IGN, some that might take you away from your reality and give you that same feeling my coworkers and I got from discussing Metal Gear, which totally lived up to the hype. Podcast Beyond does that for me every week. IGN continues to be my source of video game-related news and all-around boredom cure, so my question for you is, what moment defines IGN to you?
Wow.
I get the question, so I have time to think. Mine
Sure.
is the first time I ever watched video on the internet. And it was, and this ties into Up at Noon Tomorrow. Don't spoil it when you see Chris Jericho. But it was that I'd been there for Chris Jericho's debut at WWF at the time, right? He'd come out, done this whole thing. It happened in Chicago. I was in the audience. It blew me away and made me a Jericho fan from the get-go. And I can't remember the time frame anymore, but within a few weeks, I was in, maybe even days, because I think it was crazy. They announced that THQ had obviously it was taking. I already knew that THQ was making the next WWF game, and then 2 days after Jericho debuted, they had the entrance video for him coming out in the game. And IGN we used to do it where they'd run down everybody's entrance day by day, and so they had Jericho all set to go, and they flipped that switch. And I remember watching it on IGN and being like, "What? How am I watching this video game? How did they make it so quickly? And what is IGN really?" You know what I mean? That was the first time where it wasn't like I just went to different sites and message boards. It was like, this thing, I'm coming back every day now to see these videos because this is crazy that I'm in the library on this new cable internet thing and I'm actually getting to watch these crazy videos.
That's awesome, man. I don't know if mine is because I'm the same thing as this guy and the same thing as you were. I grew up reading IGN. I read it all the time. When the first time I ever met Fran, I was like, and I never get geeked out around celebrities or guests we have Up at Noon.
Yeah.
The first time I met Fran, I was like, "You're Fran Mirabella." And he was like, "I'm like 2 years older than you.
You have great hair."
But I used to sneak into the library at school and pull up IGN.
Right, because that was the best internet.
Yeah, exactly. and I'd read reviews and I'd go home and I'd save money and I'd buy Game Boy Color games, and I'd read Craig Harris's stuff on IGN Pocket, and I'd be like, I need to get Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and I got to buy Super Mario Deluxe 2 or whatever the fuck it was, all these things. But what really did it for me, and this was I got the job at IGN, and I came here, and it wasn't even my first day. I came to San Francisco for the first time, and I was brought into the building, and it was just sort of like, hey, we all have meetings, but hang out for the day because this is what your day is going to be like, when you start in a few weeks. And I walked in, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 11 o'clock in the morning, I was like sensory overload. Like I'd seen everywhere I looked in the building, there was like giant statues of my favorite video game characters, and I met Anthony Gallegos, and he was like, hey, I'm Anthony, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm playing Punch-Out for the Wii. And I'm like, that game's not out for like 2 months. And he's like, here, play it. And I was like, holy crap. And Will Tuttle, who was my boss at the time, came over and he was like, is there anything else we can do for you? And I was like, you can take me back to my hotel. And he was like, why? And I'm like, because I'm not, nothing's going to top like everything I've had. Just walking room to room, meeting Jessica Chobot, seeing everyone playing games. I think I met you for the first time. And I was just like, I'm not going to top this. This was 2 hours. I need to just go home and kind of decompress and think about how awesome that my life is now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Colin, what's your IGN moment? What does that mean to you?
I don't know. It's been it was a long road for me, right? And
Yeah.
I always think about the beginning, and I wrote on GameFAQs for a long time when I was a kid, and just did it for fun. And there was like no ulterior motive. I can't speak.
Yeah.
So what I was doing, I just liked to do it. Like I would literally spend like just tons of time like writing stuff for GameFAQs. Like I loved it. It was just fun. I had a good community of people there. Some of them I still talk to. But that was like 14, 15, 16 years old, and I'll never forget, like, around the time I turned 18, I was in Boston at the time, my first year there. Got an email from Stephen Ng and Chris Carl that they wanted me to write strategy guides for them, $200 a pop, which is like nothing, but I was like so stoked that they wanted to pay me for that. I ended up writing 94 of them. Like kind of just, I was really blessed to have people that were very patient with me, like Chris Carl especially, who I owe everything to. Because I begged him to like come out and like just like give me a chance and like do all these things, and he flew me. They flew out in 2003 for a little while and stayed with Fran on his couch. That's when he lived with Sin and Ivan Sulich. Yeah. And the 2 offices ago, so like an office that like virtually no one here has ever seen except for a few of us. It was on Bayshore Boulevard, like near the McDonald's, like by Cow Palace. It was a cool time. I got a taste of like what it really was, and then the next year I lived out here for a summer. That was 2004. I lived here for a summer. I slept on Mark Ryan's floor and Chris Carl's blow up mattress in his apartment in the Sunset, and just made it happen. And I just kind of feel like IGN to me is like proof that you can make cool things happen in your own life, whatever. Like I really chased it and I got it. Like that's why I always tell people like it's hard to do things that are cool and like hard to like get into an industry like this, but you can do it. I did it, and the tools like were not as versatile as they were today. Like I got noticed from text documents. Like there was no YouTube in 2004. Yeah. There was no podcasts in 2004. Yep. Like so, like to me, it's just like about that journey. And like when I graduated college in 2007, and I was offered a job here, like I didn't necessarily apply for the job. They were just like, "There's an opening, and we would like to offer it to you," basically. And I was like, "This is fucking amazing!" Like I just graduated college in May, and in June I got the job offer, and in July I lived in San Francisco. So like it wasn't, and this was like when 2007 was when the market was starting to come undone a little bit, and I was a poor college kid and just came out here. Like I remember they were saying like I got the job offer in like mid-June, and they were like, "So like when do you want to start? You want to start in August or September or whatever?" I'm like, "I'll be there in July." And they're like, I was like, "What is the soonest I can start?" And they were like, "It was like June. It was like July 16th or whatever." I'm like, "All right, July 16th." And I went on Craigslist. I found a place to live. I like did all these things. Borrowed money from my parents to move out here. They came out with me. It was like within 2.5 weeks, and then I like lived here, and that was it. And I just left Boston. I haven't gone back to Boston since. So yeah. So to me, it's about that journey. Not one specific moment, but this whole lineage. My first E3 in 2004, like all these just cool opportunities. The cool thing. My first review, my first preview, like. Just all the cool opportunities I got. The first time I met Inafune when I was 19 years old, like, there's a lot of cool things. And so that no matter, like, where I end up in the future in terms of, like, where my life goes, like, I owe, like, an incredible amount to this place, and specifically to the people. And that's why I am so loyal to the IGN, is because of the opportunities they afforded me that they didn't have to. Yeah. So I am, like, a super brand loyalist. And it's been, so 2002, September or October 2002 is when I wrote my first strategy guide for IGN. Wow. So it's been, my connection to the site is almost 12 years.
Holy crap.
Like continuous 12 years. And an editor for 7. So, yeah.
Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Podcast Beyond episode 335. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we post the show usually every Tuesday as an MP3. Wednesday, you get a video on the PlayStation 4 app, IGN.com, YouTube, etc., etc. Remember, keep up with us. Follow us all on Twitter.
Is that a
That's Willy Wonka. Yeah.
Etc.
Keep up with us on Twitter at IGN is IGN. Of course, go to IGN.com, read the articles, watch the videos, keep these mics on. I'm Game Over Greggy. Colin is No Taxation. The Birthday Broy.
Damn it, Broy.
Why do I always come apart at the very end for some reason?
You were doing really good.
No, I hate everything.
You think too much when you speak these things.
I really don't think I think enough. That's the problem with most things.
Just let it slide off.
You think you're gonna fuck it up?
No.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it.
That happened for a year with Andrew Goldfarb.
Well, that's true. The Goldfarb thing was the birthday boy. Brian Altano.
Hi.
Agent Bizzle.
Thank you.
Everybody go give him a listen. Oh, somebody else had said in there that they liked Misanthrope a lot, so everybody should go to misanthrope.com.
It's free. I have a free album called Misanthrope at misanthropealbum.com. Go enjoy it.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.